complement each other extremely well.
There you see our thought in the Big Ten, as good as that league was Herculean this year.
It really was, because the roster back in the day, they play zone defense the whole game.
They do.
So you have to be patient, get shots.
Backdoor cuts, and they go late in the clock and force the defense to play all 30 seconds.
Well, here it is, a lot of dribble, drive, those straight line passes to those cuts, and you got to talk, got to communicate early and often.
Yes, oh, boy, you're out of it. Frustrates you. Trying to get some turnovers is also difficult because they protect the ball so well. And that one does not fall. Look out. Ackman. Obi Ackman was and Wyoming before making it into Waco.
Nice offense right there.
Ooh, yes, it is.
Ploy that falls back into a zone just to allow Baylor to feel Minnesota just a little bit, and really good defense by
the year. That was nearly a violation, but the turnover occurred before the horn went off. Ackman again.
You're able to maybe figure out how to find gaps within the zone defense by playing it with a little bit better pace.
Tyson this time can't get that. Baylor basically had to reconstruct their entire roster this year, Jim. And by the time when the chemistry was really beginning to develop, they had run out of games.
Kind of finding, like you said, that rhythm late.
Right. Awesome. Ooh, missed the chippy. And Skillings is in the game now. The transfer from Cincinnati. He's looking to launch. That's an excellent interior pass. Good defensive. Baylor leads it by 3. Good idea to keep a lead against these guys. Oh, nice curl. Beautiful. And that extra pass is big, isn't it? Yesufu. Shot clock down to 4. Durkin, the deck by Obi Ackman. Oh my! Hello.
Yeah, what was troubling about those 2 for 7, 2 out of 7. 4 of those games were lost by double figures, one by 30, one by 22 in the season. It's a good thing, but you kind of wish you would have had that kind of continuity early.
Things, the way Nedved runs things, everybody has to handle some, you know. They all have to be able to put it on the deck.
Yeah, he's 1 of 3 goals.
The 11 points for Minnesota. Williams, a blow by. Oh, beautiful. Tyson, tough shot. And Williams, that was a beautiful pass.
But look at the recovery down low.
Yeah. Get it out to the perimeter, won't go. Good. Awesome again. Carr from downtown. Pulled out of there well by Tyson again. Minnesota's now 5 of their last 6. Make it 6 of 7.
Get out and run. Yep. So a lot of that will look different when the roster is more complete. Yep. But right now you got to kind of mend and pace, and that's an example.
Wow, folks, follow along.
Yeah. Shot.
Beautiful
Awesome.
Ball fake. Awesome. I can't get it to go. It's easier to control the game's tempo when you got a lead. There's that explosion to the back. Durkin on the wing. Awesome. Tap out. Chin holster could not. Boy, they get it to the nail and Yesufu really well, don't they? Too strong that time. The emeritus at Ole Miss. I just gave him a shout out.
There you go.
Yesufu, not there. I tell you, Baylor was well schooled on what to expect from this Minnesota team. They're going to give Grove that shot. It goes crying off the front.
Your man, so he has to cut through you and not in front of you.
Beautiful interior pass. Evening progresses, but just a magnificent story. Inside, Williams a turnaround, can't get it to go. Gets it right there. Trapped, good find, wide open is Carr. Drives in and gets it to go.
Defense. Carr wisely drove that closeout with reckless abandon.
Offense Salukis, and they got a rich tradition. We're talking Weber, we're talking Painter. I mean, how their careers got going, as you see.
2 for 5 for Baylor, 2 for 9.
You've seen both the strengths and the weaknesses.
Have to kind of bail them out.
Right. And Reynolds game to get up in the 80s or 90s.
Now, despite Minnesota just turning it over 3 times, Baylor's done an excellent job of turning those 3 turnovers.
Locked down to 7. Reynolds really got a good pick. Chose to give it up, though, and Grove missed the chippy. They missed it.
You want to stymie a run and make those shots.
Yesufu will do it himself. This time, Durkin or Tyson need to get loose for a 3-ball.
Well, I think the
old Allison that. Cameron Carr can't get that one to go. Now in transition, trying to get a quick one. And is this going to be... Oh. Reynolds getting past. Initiating this game, John was the one-time ACC supervisor of officials. Great official, involved in many $1,000 in cash prizes. See the Fox Sports app for details. Jim Jackson, Allison Williams with you. Happy to have you with us. Well, I tell you, from deep. The tie.
Pulls up or a drive, you can't find the body and you're susceptible to offensive rebounds.
First time I've seen. And that puts Tyson at the free throw line. It really goes back to when Scott was at that very moment.
Well, he knew that was going to be a challenge coming in. The bigger challenge was for his young men to stay disciplined.
They kind of hedged on Yesufu there. He still makes a beautiful spin move. Can't finish trying to use the glass. Grove got the seal, and he got the hoop. Pretty good when you think about it to go cold that long and still only be down 5.
Yeah, 2-possession game.
Retie. 11, the rest of the team 13. That one's too long. You have to say that guy was as good a newcomer as you could find in the Big Ten Conference. Look at that athleticism on display.
They don't have shot blockers, but what they do is put a lot of bodies around the shooter when they get closer to the basket, speaking of which.
Woo. To Yesufu, and they're waving those arms around, looking for deflections. Carr. Bounced around, and the putback. Shinholster. Agbam.
Anything really off of your defense if you're the Gophers?
Very important that the team behind hang around. He's swinging around the perimeter. And on the wing, Yesufu. A little too
from behind the 3-point line.
Oh, wow. What a swat away that was by Powell. Yesufu on the other end. Yeah, occurred. Here's Reynolds trying to post up, and he turns it over. Oh, big time. Yesufu. Minnesota really needs a bucket here to stem the tide.
Yeah. See, Reynolds is hesitant right there to shoot that.
And Skillings Jr. back on the floor. He replaced Retie in the lineup. That's when Baylor began to kind of get their act together. Agbam. Yesufu with 4 on the clock. And Durkin off the front iron, run down by Tyson.
Good contest that time by Cameron Carr. That shot.
They need Grove and Tyson and Durkin to warm up, Minnesota, to help Reynolds out and Osama as well. Oh, another. Dribbled it off his foot. Everything going wrong. Numbers for Yesufu. Nobody about it, too. That is at the discretion of the official, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Durkin. Two out at my home is pink, lavender, dusty rose, and mauve. You know, I mean, it takes
Here with the Mavericks.
Yeah.
For some reason, Quinn Buckner wanted us to be really focused. And that, you know how focused we were? We won 13 games that year.
I can. That's a marvelous town, though, and he's right about the job that Scott has done. And
Agnew is able to find those little gaps, and before the defense can rotate over to him, he's already up in the shot. Speaking of which, Durkin finally gets a spurt, and what happens is this zone defense eats into the time as well, which is their.
Durkin again. Oh, Carnes. Live ball turnovers. They are just not allowing those backdoor cuts. They aren't. They are there defensively. Solid. Reynolds, tough shot.
Again, a lot of that was those early touches inside by Minnesota. Good defense.
Right now, the decision that is in front of him, it could be that he's a mid to late first rounder, projecting by a lot of people as a second.
Him to wait a year when the 27 draft is not a stack.
Exactly.
You know, he's been on the radar. And I think it's, you know, again, one of those decisions.
You don't ever hear those stories the way we hear the other stories. There's the dump down to Yesufu. Minnesota's only got 7 points, Jim. Yesufu has 11 in this half. He ignited all of this. Counted and a foul. He and Durkin. Gone really beyond what 5 or 6 guys could go through to win a lot of games in the Big Ten. Yesufu.
Can you get enough stops right here to get this lead under double figures? And good defense, right?
They've sort of proven to me, Jim, that they can play another way against a team like Minnesota. Rejected by Collins.
To recover, utilize his wingspan to block shots or just intimidate shots. I just.
The other thing that Baylor can do against this zone, Jim, is they can take all the time they want with each possession. Yeah. Shinholster gets a recycle for them on the offensive glass. Reynolds, pump fake. That was a beautiful one. Another turnover. A rare turnover. Tyson. Oh, my. Shot clock down to 10. They have used a lot of clock in these half-court possessions. There he goes. And tell you, the ball doesn't get stuck too much, does it?
A good job of, too, is identifying where some key spots are to break this zone down and have it play more like a man-to-man.
Reynolds. Got to look there at what's coming up tomorrow. Hey, he'll be missed in the Big East. Greg McDermott. Wouldn't it be one?
Come on, don't don't get that twisted. But it's an end of an era. One of my favorite coaches.
And the 2 head coaches, of course, Bryce is coaching Grand Canyon now. Has coached them into the NCAAs recently. Not there for Yesufu when Scott was a year old, assisting Dale Brown when he was named head coach in 1972. Under 5. Got to go up, Obi.
He just got.
He sure did. Shinholster. You don't know how many times. 3 of 22, Minnesota from downtown. There's what it was. It certainly worked.
Yeah, well, 11 points, 4 for 7.
How about that holster on just nothing from the perimeter? Yes, Safu. That's some years. Then that opportunity at McAllister is how it got started for him. As you see, Powell with the left hand gets it to go. But the stigma attached to the level of player that they have to play with sometimes keeps them from getting opportunities. And they have to earn their stripes, and Nico Medved comes from that territory. Mass substitution, some of the young guys getting in, and how about that? Brian Lilly, our crew back, everyone in Los Angeles, shake hands, and congratulations to Baylor as they march on. And the semifinal will be a really fun matchup, Jim, when those two go at it in the semifinal.